This week on Popular Hot Rodding Television, Cam and Dean discuss the science behind the world of additives and what they actually do for your car. We'll check out the latest creations at the giant Detroit Autorama. And why does this ground-pounding 70 El Camino turn heads both on the strip and on the street? Stay tuned and find out.
That's about enough. What the heck are you doing, man? I can't even breathe.
Skuza, if you want us to make our own nitromethane for the RC car, you got to let me have my science here. I mean, this is the only way I know how to do this.
Yeah, but man, look at your hair. I think you're losing touch here, man. You're freaking out on me.
It doesn't matter as long as we're making power. You should know better than that.
Bad episode of Mr. Wizard. Hey, welcome to Popular Hot Rodding Television. I'm Dean Skuza.
And I'm Kramer in chemistry class.
You look
Actually,
like
I'm Cameron Evans.
Now, there's a bunch of things you could do to your car to enhance its performance. You could actually build things or bolt things on, but in one area where you're limited are fluids. I mean, after all, you can't formulate your own fuel or oil unless you have the disposal of a refinery, and who has that?
The chemists and people behind the companies that actually make the products on the shelf have gone a long way to figure out how to make power, how to clean up your valves per se, how to make your water and your radiator drop its temperature a little bit. It's very interesting business.
Whew. Cam, you're not looking too good, buddy. You better get some air. Hey, Cam. Cam, get some air. He'll be fine. Now, when it comes to fuel additives, the first question that always arises is, how will it benefit me, or how much will it benefit me? Well, the answer is, depends on who you are, or more precisely, what you drive. Is it early or late model? Now, another important thing to remember is that modern-day pump gas has additives built into it. So will these work with those? We'll find out. Now, how about the owner of our 96 Dodge Viper RT here? Will it benefit him if he puts a fuel additive in? Maybe. Let's learn more about fuel additives and what they're all about. Cam! That's the closet, buddy. Other door.
Most of us have purchased a fuel additive, but how do they work, and when should we use them? Good questions. Let's learn the basics. The most common type of fuel additive is a cleaner. They are sold as different types: carb cleaners, fuel injector cleaners, or fuel system cleaners, but most are variations of about 3 or 4 detergent-based formulas. They're designed to be added to a full tank of gas and gradually remove carbon and varnish deposits as you drive. The actual formulas can be a bit complicated, and quality does vary, but they generally include a combination of detergents, demulsifiers, carrier fluids, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and lubricants for injectors and fuel pumps. The detergents remove deposits, and the carrier fluids transport them to be burned during combustion. As a rule, deposits are larger and harder to remove the closer they are to the combustion chamber. A product that raises the octane level of your fuel should be used in high-performance engines or older engines when regular pump gas octane levels are not high enough. Most pump gases have octane numbers from 87 to 93, but your high-performance engine may run better on, say, 96 octane. Here's why. An octane number is a measure of a fuel's resistance to pinging, also called knocking, which occurs when a fuel does not burn consistently across the combustion chamber. Instead, while the flame is spreading across the chamber, other areas of the fuel begin burning spontaneously, causing a violent collision of the flame fronts. That's what causes the pinging noise you hear. Raising the octane number of your fuel makes the fuel burn consistently across the chamber. Severe damage can occur if an engine pings or knocks for long periods of time. Up until the mid-70s, tetraethyl lead was added to gas at the refinery to raise the octane of pump gas and to provide a protective barrier for valve seats. It was phased out because it was found to be a health hazard. Today's valve seats are hardened and don't require this type of protection, but older valve seats are soft and will micro-weld, a slow recession of the valve seat under high temperature conditions without the protective barrier that lead or a lead substitute provides.
Oh, you're looking a lot better. You feeling good?
Nah, I still have issues.
Looking good, feeling good. I'd like to answer a question that we get asked all the time. As a matter of fact, we literally get barraged in email. Do I need to run a lead substitute in my fuel? Well, the answer is yes, if your car is older than early 70s and it has the original heads. After all, that's the whole issue here, is the valve seats. You see, the valve seats, the way they were made back then, really aren't manufactured to accommodate the additives that are in today's fuel. So you need to run a lead substitute. No, this isn't Kikkoman soy sauce.
It looks like it.
It does, doesn't it? It's Redline's lead substitute. You'll definitely want to run this if you're using those earlier valve seats. But let's face it, this is a shrinking market. I mean, those cars just aren't around as much as they used to be. But Redline thinks of everybody, and there's still a market for it.
Now, when it comes to actual fuel additives, like Redline's SI1 here, realize this stuff treats, I don't know how many gallons.
Yeah, that's why you should probably read the directions, right?
Oh, it says 100 right there.
Now let's talk about octane boosters and racing gas. For one, do not run racing gas on the street. I hate to say I got busted, but I learned the hard way. It's illegal. Plus, it's rather expensive. What you should really look at is an octane booster.
Absolutely. Now, there's companies like Unical that have some pumps in California that I've seen 100 octane unleaded street legal gas. That works great, but it's pretty hard to find. So an octane booster like this from NOS, it'll add probably 3 octane points to what you're using. But realize you may not even need any extra octane points. If you have a supercharge application, if you've got maybe 87 gas when your car requires 92 and you can't find any other fuel, this will help that out. And also, if you've got the kind of compression that even race cars start with, let's say over 10.5, 11 to 1, or even 13.5 to 1, this will help you get there in terms of octane requirement.
I hear you there, tough guy. We'll be right back. Got a little
I still have. Hang on a sec. We got to go fix this, man. This is not.
Coming up on popular hot rodding television, more on additives and their uses, and our close-up look at this ground-pounding 70 El Camino.
Hey, welcome back. You know, the Detroit Autorama is arguably one of the biggest indoor car shows of the Midwest. It's also the place where they give out one of the more coveted awards, the Riddler Award.
A lot of guys got their cars just barely done in time to make it to the show. Let's see who won.
The 49th Detroit Autorama screeched into Cobo Hall in Michigan with gleaming chrome and red-hot greased lightning. America's love affair with hot rods, custom cars, and 50s classics is revving stronger than ever, and the Detroit Autorama is the granddaddy event of the hot rod craze. It's one of the oldest and biggest custom car shows in the country. The annual winter ritual brings together the most devout gearheads and the just plain curious for an up-close and personal view of over 1,000 of the hottest hot rods and wildest custom cars, trucks, vans, and motorcycles of the past and present. The coveted Riddler Memorial Award, named for the show's influential promoter Don Riddler, represents excellence for the best first-time shown vehicle.
The Riddler Award. It's a very prestigious, probably the most prestigious award presented in the United States. And you get a lot of guys here bringing some very, very nice cars to compete for that award. The quality of the cars in the Detroit area is extremely good. I mean, being the motor city of the world, basically, I mean, there's lots of interest, there's lots of money it's spent on cars, and people are interested in cars.
I was up for Riddler back in '92 the first time, and I'm back here again in 2001. Learned a lot and took some time off, and I think we brought a hell of a car, and we brought quite a display with us between 3 different vehicles. So it's Riddler's a hell of an award to win. It tells a lot about all the work that goes into them, and there's a ton of hours, and all the cars here deserve to be here, and they're all good cars.
The Riddler Award means perfection in engineering, a variety of other things. It's very significant to win the award, and I'd be happy to even be a contender.
It was Chris Williams of Escondido, California, who was able to take home the honored Riddler hardware for a job well done on his radically customized 49 Chevy Business Coupe.
Man, Cobo Hall is a big place to have a car show.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to paint it. We'll be right back.
But Mike the Rookie would paint it.
You got paint work for me?
Yeah,
Give me a roll of that.
Still to come on popular hot rodding television, more on additives and what they can do for your car, and our awesome 70L Camino. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to PHR TV. This Mustang Cobra SVT, it's a pretty serious investment. After all, this one's got the 4.6 dual overhead cam motor. It's very sensitive to what you do with the oiling system and with the cooling system. Now, earlier we looked at fuel additives. Now it's time to look and see what we can do with oil and water. Check this out. You'll learn a bunch.
When it comes to oil additives marketed to give your car extra protection against wear, there is some controversy. Many people, including the manufacturers, are confident in their effectiveness. Some critics refer to them as snake oils because they believe they really don't perform the way they are marketed or are unnecessary. Now, we're not going to take sides, and some products undoubtedly work better than others, so our only word of advice is do some research on a product before you buy it. The majority of oil additives are primarily designed to give your oil better anti-wear protection. But keep in mind, all brands of oil already have an additive package in them. But the additive products available off the shelf claim to have more and/or different additives that provide increased protection. The chemistry involved here is fairly advanced, but anti-wear oil additives basically work by providing a better coating or plating on engine parts. This is generally accomplished by starting with a heavyweight oil and then adding an additive package that usually has either PTFE, commonly known by the trademark name Teflon, or zinc dialkyl dithiaphosphate as the key ingredient. Other types of oil additives are designed to strip away sludge and carbon deposits from your engine. These usually contain detergents and solvents and are added to high-mileage engines to clean internal components. There are also additives designed for the most neglected part of a car, the cooling system. These products generally provide better cooling by increasing heat transfer rates, prevent rust and corrosion of the cooling system, and provide lubrication for water pumps.
Go to any racetrack around the country, and I'll bet the additive you most likely see being poured into a radiator is Redline Oil's Water Wetter. It really does work well. But when you put it in a road car, you may not see a big difference if the thermostat is controlling temperature, let's say between 180 and 195. Where you really see it kick in is 200, 210, sitting around in traffic or climbing a hill. You're going to see a significant temperature drop. It actually works. Now, the mixture of coolant that we recommend, let's say if you have a ride that you only take around in the summertime, 80% water, a little less than 20% coolant, and 2 bottles of water wetter. Now, if you're running in the winter, 50% water, 50% coolant. Realize that both coolant and water wetter provide the protection for your water pump and for the heater core. You don't want it to end up looking like this. When it comes to oil, wear is what you're trying to avoid. But see this oil pan? It's filled with sludge. That's another enemy, and it probably came from using non-detergent petroleum-based oil. Luckily, these days, almost every petroleum oil you see on the shelf has detergent in it. But do you think you want that in the bottom of your pan? I know I don't. Now, when it comes to additive packages, you need to figure out what's wrong with your car and try to find one to fix it. Some work well, some don't work so well, so be very particular about what you put in your engine. Now, if it were up to me, I would just take a synthetic oil, like with a brand new car, and just run it all the time. It's much more stable at temperature.
Now, Cam brings up a very good point. I mean, if you're starting with a good quality synthetic blended oil, there's no need to worry about additives or snake oils or whatever you want to call them. You're starting with something very good to begin with. And those additives can be a funny thing. I mean, they're a lot like an aphrodisiac. If you think they're working, right? Now, when you hear the word K&N, you probably think of their filter systems, and for good reason. They're the best in the market. Well, now they're building oil filters. Now, one important thing to remember about an oil filter is that you could start with the best synthetic oil. You could buy countless dollars worth of the snake oils or additives, but if you're not filtering it properly, it all goes for naught. Now, these K&N models, very good ones. Most of your oil filters on the market today aren't up to snuff as far as filtering the right micron levels that can be found in your oil system. After all, it's those little things that can kill an engine. You don't see like softballs bouncing around taking out bearings. Now, with that said, let's take a look at this week's rotting marketplace.
Redline Oil's complete line of performance lubricants are proven by the pros. From our famous power-producing engine oils to our shock-proof gear lubes and famed water wetter coolant additive, Redline provides guaranteed performance and protection. Check out our website at redlineoil.com or call toll-free for the power you deserve. Call now for your 32-page Adkins color catalog, free from your #1 source in die-cast automotive replicas, featuring racing, customs, branded licensed, exotics, and muscle cars. For your free catalog, go online or call toll-free 800-495-8080. Need parts for your classic Mustang, Camaro, Chevelle, El Camino, or Firebird? Then get your free Resto Parts catalog from National Parts Depot, the nation's fastest restoration parts supplier. Most orders delivered complete in just 1 to 3 business days. Call 888-893-FAST now for your free catalog. National Parts Depot. Our ground-pounding 70 El Camino, next on popular hot rodding television.
Hey, welcome back. Now, you may remember that feature we did a while back on Mark Mahood at the Good Guys Show in Las Vegas. Well, his partner in crime has built a really cool El Camino.
Yeah, Fast Eddie is one of the most up-and-coming chassis builders on the West Coast. I think you'll appreciate his work. Let's see it. You can see right there on the license plate, somewhere in there, Dean, it spells Fast Eddie. I've just never been good at deciphering that stuff.
Me either, but I'm glad you brought it to my attention. Another thing to our attention, how about Michelle, this week's PHR video valet?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people say you can't wear green in the pits. I'm okay with her wearing it.
I never said that.
Now, look at the amount of tire he's run on this thing. It's obviously got a pro street build style, but it's also built to go down the track. This thing's no poser.
No, I mean, he drives it in the street, but again, it was built for the strip. I mean, remember the Mahood connection we were talking about earlier? Well, actually, it was done at his shop by Mike Shepard at Mahood's paint shop.
Yeah, Mahood's body work has always been very, very good, and it's kind of cool with guys like this. They can trade back and forth their work. All this tin work you see, though, all the special work on the bumpers, credit Fast Eddie with all of that.
Well, talk about special work. Look under the hood. How about an 85 all-aluminum Chevy Donovan? Not something you see under every hood.
It's got billet fabrication valve covers, that real brushed aluminum look everywhere you see. And what I like about this car, it's got very low compression. It's only like 9.5 to 1.
That's right, J&E pistons, Carrillo rods, Chevy bow tie heads. If I was going to build a Chevrolet, this is exactly the way to do it, plus the nitrous kit.
If you remember Sean Torres and his dad Ray, they're working with Waddy from NOS to try to help him really tune this thing up. That Mazir electric water pump, dead reliable on the street. Just turn it on and go. You're not going to wear it out.
Cam, check out the plumbing on this thing. I mean, it's like, I wish I had some stock in the hose end company. I mean, there's a ton of them.
Yeah, I'm sure he's making XRP rich.
Yeah.
The interior is very basic. He's got the right mix of street stuff and race stuff. You see proper Crow harnesses, 5-way harnesses to keep him in the car, and also that shifter. It's got a reverse lockout, so it is NHRA legal.
A lot of carbon fiber you see there. You saw the autometer instrumentation.
Look at the rear end of this thing, Dean. That's a Mark Williams housing with a 40 spline axles. You're not going to break this. That's like Pro Mod level.
Well, some people call it overkill, Cam, but you know what? Do it right the first time, and you don't want to break an axle with a beauty like this. You'll put it right in the guardrail.
Oh, we know this scene.
All too well.
Eddie poses for his picture. He's going to have a car feature coming up within the next month or so on Popular Hot Rodding Magazine. But in the meantime, he says, hey, we'll go out for a drive, cruise the streets of Lancaster, or Palmdale, actually, where this was shot.
With my helmet.
That's right, with this helmet in tow, just in case someone wants a race, and prove to these guys that it's a real street car. Look at the stance, too. It's got Hotchkiss control arms, which you go, hey, that's a typical Chevelle part, right? You know, hey, it doesn't work street or strip. It'll work either way.
I love the look of that wing. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. It's like a pro mod or like a super modified is what really comes to mind.
And it's got fiberglass bumpers. Boy, he gets on it too. You see, there's no problem there. But it was a very cold day at Palmdale, LA County Raceway, when we shot this car. And let's see if he can get it hooked up. Well, I doubt it.
Well, drag racers like cold, track temperatures, but not this cold. Look at that thing spinning the tire. You can actually see tires smoking.
That thing looks like a handful.
But he brings it on straight through.
Yeah, it's a mid 9-second car, no problem.
How about this week's PHR video of LA Michelle and Fast Eddie's ride? Perfecto. Well, that's all the time we have for today, and hopefully you learned something about additives. What are you putting in there? This is my car.
I already put it in.
You're not putting it in my car, you're not.
Well, it's not going to hurt anything. It's just fuel. I mean, it's my project. You wanted horsepower. I made you horse. What? It's not that bad.
What in the Sam hell is it, man?
It's just a little more nitro than you're usually running.
I say 30% and that's it. I'm not starting
that's 70%, but the combustion chamber, I took a little out, so, basically we won't get any detonation. It's going to be fine. We'll be perfect.
Blows up.
Start it up, dude. I'm telling you it'll work fine.
You buy me a new one. That's all there is to it. I don't care. I could use another one anyhow.
I'm telling you it's going to work fine. Fire it up. See what I tell you. Smells good. It's making power.
Those sound pretty good.
See?
Right.
See, who's the man?
Well, what I want
I am the man.
Let's clean it out and let her eat. You know, get the radio going there.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's all the time we have for this week. You think? We'll see you next week.
I knew it. I shouldn't have listened.
It still smells good, though.
Yeah, it's burning. That's why.
Next week on Popular Hot Rodding Television, Cam and Dean show us how engine control modules work and how we can dial in performance with our laptops. The action is hot and furious at the Fun Ford event in Houston, Texas. And why does this jet black 68 Camaro have a really bad attitude? Tune in and find out. Subscribe to Popular Hot Rodding Magazine, your source for the rod and performance scene, and save 75% off the single copy rate. Each supercharged issue is packed with killer muscle cars and street rods, the latest performance parts, and tuning tips to make your car look cooler and go faster. Plus, if you order now, you'll receive the latest issue of Popular Hot Rodding absolutely free. If you like what you see, you'll pay only $9.97 for 11 more issues. America's performance publication, Popular Hot Rodding. To order, call 877-9-RODDER today. If you'd like more information on Popular Hot Rodding Television and the products presented on the show, visit phrtv.com.